we go. So I have the privilege of getting to talk to you, Chan, and I'll just ask you to introduce yourself and what you do. And thank you for being available to talk about this non-directive versus directive play therapy in regard to the Oaklander model.
Uh, Thank you very much, Dr. Karen. I'm just a little young counselor. I'm a elementary school counselor, or in Malaysia, the Asia Malaysia, we would call it primary school. And I work primarily with children from 7 to 12 years old. And in my practices, I usually does a lot of non-directive play therapy, grounded in the child-centered model. And sometimes I integrate the Gestalt therapy model, the a little bit of Gestalt play, the Oaklander model into my work with children. That is where I define the directiveness in the non-directive.
Okay. Well, and so I wanted to get your point of view because you are tasked with really defining the differences between directive and non-directive play therapy. And as we were saying, I get a lot of questions about that in terms of Violet's model, because she really would say that she was there for the child and with the child. And so if being non-directive is what was appropriate for that session, then in my mind, that's how she would be. But I wanted to get your point of view on how you saw the difference.
I would say the Oaklander model is where you have maybe have something pre-planned, and when the child come into session, usually in what I do, I would invite the child. Let's say in an hour session, I will tell the child, hey, I'm going to do send activity with you when the times is 25 minutes left. So in the rest of this hour, before the 25 minutes is left, you can do everything that you want. You can play whatever that you want in your own way. Then the child will proceed to play. And then when the time left 25 minutes, I would invite the child to play. And sometimes the child wouldn't want to play my activity. He or she would say, I don't want, Mr. Chan. I would just want to spend an hour doing just play Lego. And sometimes the child would say, okay. And then when time 25 minutes left, I would play the sand tray, for example.
Yeah. And so you sort of see that 25 minutes of the Oaklander model as something that you pre-planned.
Yes.
Yeah. And they either say yes or no to that.
Yes. Yeah. And usually when the child declined, he or she said no, then I would just do the whole session in the non-directive way, where I would just reflect and do trackings. And sometimes I would use phrase like, oh, I can see you stack it up very high in the Lego, just to enhance, I would say, I don't know the right terms, just to improve the child confidence. Maybe he's someone with low self-esteem. Yeah. And by compliment his hard work of making the Lego high up,
yeah,
then the child would feel empowered.
Yeah.
That is the most I think directive in terms of work in the non-directive.
Right.
But in the Oaklander model, I see it differently.
You see it. And so how would you see it differently if a child made a Lego structure like that? How would you use the Oaklander model with that?
Usually I wouldn't do, but sometimes when I feel experimental a little bit, I would try with the child. Teacher would like to invite you to be the Lego. Okay. If you are the Lego, what would you say? But sometimes the child would just say, I don't know.
Mhm.
Then I feel stuck, and then I don't know what to do. That is where when I had so many like I would say disappointment that when child say don't know,
Yes.
then I draw a clear line between this is Auckland. This is where I become very
Uh-huh.
directive, and this is
Uh-huh.
where I do nothing, and then I just do the basic skills in the child centered play
Oh,
therapy. Mm.
okay. Well, that's so helpful because I think you speak for a lot of people that if they can't be the part, then that means that you failed in the Oaklander model.
Yes.
And what Violet said,
Mhm.
um, I wouldn't only just say what Violet would say, but what Violet said is what is her model is to be in contact with the child, to have the I thou relationship, to help them
Mhm.
with a sense of self, and to help them with their contact functions. So if they don't want to be it, but they made it, and you are in contact with them and you have a relationship with them, that is still the Oaklander model. Lots of lots of children don't want to be it. That's too awkward for them. They have resistance towards that. But that isn't the requirement of doing the Oaklander model.
Mhm. 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 Yeah, that's really um, it's really interesting that Dr. Karen speaking to you with regards to this. I felt like Aucklander model is the four part. I keep on thinking like
Yes.
Aucklander model
Yes.
is the four part. I stuck in it. I stuck in it. I just literally every activities that I do in the Aucklander part, I wish to do the four part, and
Uh-huh.
that would bring like contact. Then that I forgot actually by saying no. It is the honor of the resistant, and then it's also contact and ideal relationship.
That's
Mm.
right. That's right. And I am so grateful to have this conversation with you because I think for a lot of people, they get left with that circle. And it was so helpful that Peter Mortola made that 4 parts. But
Mhm.
Violet was not the biggest fan of it because she felt not she big fan of Peter and big fan of his work. But what she didn't like about the 4 parts is she said her work is not linear like that. She never
Mhm.
said, I do it this way. She had plenty of clients where they weren't things. Right?
Ah.
She
Mm.
did use that classic empty chair technique with certain projective techniques, and it's very powerful. But that isn't all of just being there with the child.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. That's interesting because I usually thought like this. I would do non-directive first, and for the first few sessions, and then for example in session number 5 or 6, then I would invite the child to play like centre or like the drawing, and then I would invite the child to be someone in the drawing, or to
Yeah.
be the object in the drawing,
Yes.
just to promote like emotional expression or sense of self-willing.
Yes.
I would see that way, and then I
Yes.
would just stick to the circle of Peter Motola. I
Right.
just never
Right.
thought that in resistance we could also comes back to what is also essential in the non-directive, the relationship.
That's right. So you probably are actually an Oaklander type therapist because you respect your clients, you're in
Mhm,
contact with them, you're helping them learn about themselves, right?
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
you're helping them to make choices. I want to play with Legos. I don't want to play with the sand tray. Those are
mhm.
all sense of self statements so that
Ah,
with your support, they're making choices, they're making preferences. And so that's why when people say, well, and when you said it, I really had in mind, I wanted to follow up on this to see where you were making the distinction. And I would say that um, uh, I would be thrilled to have you sort of have this part of the knowledge to reinforce that so that you could see it possibly in an expanded view.
Kind of got me interested. I got that question in mind, but suddenly I just lost it. I wonder. The sense of self-building or the emotional expression, would you like making it or pushing it toward it when you have established the therapeutic relationship, Dr. Karen?
Can you
Uh,
say that again? I'm just going to move us out of the sun so that
okay.
what happens. Oh, let's see. Maybe we'll go over here so that I'm in the shade. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right. Here I am. Go ahead,
I like
please.
it.
You can see my family behind me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So please repeat that. I want to know the question.
Sometimes in my practice, when I use, for example, centric, or for example, puppet,
Yes.
or for example, or drawing, like I could recall the Lynn Stadler, the four set of emotion.
Yes. Yes.
And sometimes in my practices, I want to invite the child to express emotion.
Yeah.
But the child seems to be coming into the session at 5 to 6, and then the child just doesn't want to do it. The child doesn't want to do it. So how would you do it? Would you just go back to the ideal relationship, and you would not push on the emotional expression?
Well,
or you would wait until the child is ready?
Yeah, I mean, so the faucets is such a fabulous intervention, but not everyone wants to do what you have planned. So one of Violet's often repeated phrases is plan the session without expectations. So you in your mind say, okay, this child's ready to work on emotions, and I'm going to get the drawing materials for the faucet thing. And they say, I don't want to draw faucets, right? So then you say, oh, okay, I still feel clinically that they're ready to work on emotions. So I might say, it's not a drawing day. You could say, would you like to draw something else? Or is it drawing that you're not excited about today? So I probe a little more. And then I'd say, we don't have to draw. You could pick a card for each of the feelings. Would you prefer that? Do you want to make it out of clay? Do you want to use the sand tray? Do you want to use Legos? Each Lego piece or little construction could be each emotion. You could pick the 4 core emotions. They could make it out of Legos if they like that. Make it out of clay, make a sand tray. They don't have to do the faucet. And then let's say they pick the Legos, and then they could do one for each emotion, like sad, mad, glad, and scared. And then you could say, okay, what's the strongest emotion that you're feeling now? So in the spirit of the faucets, where you say, what is the most amount of flow coming from the faucet? Instead, you say, which of these Lego pieces would you say is first right now for you? What's last? What's in the middle? So then you are giving them choices. And a lot of our clients need power and control. So if you say, well, would you like to do a drawing? They might want to just say no, because they want that power and control, right? They want to make choices. That's good. We want to see that, because they're very confluent if they just say, sure, whatever you want me to do.
Agree. Oh, that's interesting. Because usually in my practices, when the child say, like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do the drawing, that I'll say, oh, then that's fine. Then I would just come back to the non-directive part.
Yeah.
I wouldn't prompt more.
right,
Ah,
right.
and
So, yeah.
yeah.
So it sounds like, and by the way, non-directive play therapy is a wonderful um treatment model. And it sounds like you have those skills and that training. So I'm here to support that also. I just wanted to make sure that we clarified our terms here. And if
Mhm,
you feel most successful the way that you're doing it, by all means, that whatever how I always say I'm a fan of what works. And if that's how you're successful, that's fantastic. And I just wanted to, because a lot of people have these questions about, well, what if they won't be it? What if they don't want to draw? So I thought you'd be such a wonderful person to have this conversation because you really have been working on defining your terms.
mhm, mhm, mhm. I used to think Aucklander model as an intervention, in the in the non-directive model. Like I noticed something in this. I noticed this child need to work on emotional expression besides on building the relationship with the counselor.
Yeah.
So I would invite the child to do the 4 part process. That is how I used to distinguish it. Hmm.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I hope it can give you a little bit picture of what I do.
Yes, yes, you definitely have. And so I, I'm gonna I'm gonna stop the recording and then I'm gonna invite you to something. So I want to say thank you, Chan, for giving this uh giving people who are listening to this an opportunity to hear about how you work, the children that you serve, how you um sort of see the two models, that you work with, and hopefully that we've expanded your range of using the Oaklander model. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it does. It does. It definitely expands my knowledge in terms of how this would uh, complement my work. And I like what you said, Dr. Karen. Like, what works for you, use what works for you, and I like that. I like that because in child that I work for example, under like 9 years old, they would usually have everything in mind. They would be so occupied that I usually have to fight. I have to fight with them. For example, I need to tell them in advance that next session, for example, I want to do this with you. And then the next session when they came in, I would tell them again, I want to do this with you. Are you okay with it? Then sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. But for 10 years old and above, I realized that they are open to it, open to trying something new, because sometimes they might find it boring to just play it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Where I just followed them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mm.
Oh,
That is where I use uh these 2 things. But today is definitely something I say it in advance that you will definitely enlighten me more about this, and I'm glad I have talked to you. Yes.
oh, I'm
I
so.
hope it helps for people who are listening right now.
Oh, oh, it will.
I'm still new, practicing, learning, and I
Yeah.
hope if there is anything that I said wrongly, I hope guys who are listening can clarify it. Mm.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna stop.